Hey, financial besties. Hey, besties. How you doing? How you been? Welcome back to my channel. How you doing? How you been? If you are with me tonight, drop some money babies in the chat and let me know how you're feeling. Are my besties with me tonight? How you doing? How you been? In this video, I want to talk about the series that we've been doing for Financial Literacy Month. Money Moves, actually, Millionaire Money Moves for women. And this week, we're talking about Millionaire Money Moves for women in their 40s. So last week, we did a video on money moves for women in their 30s. I had my special guest on, Coach B. That was amazing. If you did not catch that video, the link will be in the description. And the week before that, I did Millionaire Money Moves for our sisters in their 20s. That was a good one too. You should check it out. Catch the video. Link in the description box. But tonight we are going to get into the money moves for women in their 40s. Let me know if you're here watching live, if you're watching a replay, comment replay gang. Y'all know I love to see your comments too. I love to see it. And if you're new to me, hey girl, hey. My name is Malika and I'm a money coach and the founder of Fabulous Financials. I love to help Black women make money babies by investing in the stock market so you can achieve financial independence. Hopefully, retire early if that's what you desire, or simply to live whatever you love. So, if that sounds like your vibe, then come on and join my tribe. Subscribe to my channel, girl. Go on and hit that subscribe button down there and turn on the notification bell too. So you will be notified the next time I upload a new video or go live. So, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am so glad you're here. I'm so glad all of my besties are here. Let me say hello to the besties. Hey y'all, Shalonda, what's up, girl? How you doing? How you been? You out in these streets and still checking in? I appreciate your loyalty. I appreciate you. Hey Venus. Hey girl. Hey, how you doing, sis? How you doing? Tanya Brooks. Hey girl. Hey. What's up, y'all? Let me know how you feeling. It's Friday night. Let me know how you feeling. Is it warming up where you are? Is the weather getting warm? Is it feeling spring-like yet? Multifaceted me with SFB here in Accounted For. I see you, sis. I see you. How you doing? How you been? Sasa Tropica. I don't know if I've seen that name before, but welcome. Either way, I'm glad you're here. Greetings to you too. Greetings to you too. But ladies, I want us to talk about the money moves for women in their 40s. And I think this is where the majority of my community falls. Either this generation or the next video that I'm going to do. This is where the majority of us are. So this is for you. This is for you. The weather's beautiful where you are, Venus. Awesome, awesome. I'm on a road trip. If y'all don't mind, can we talk about travel a little bit before we get into the money? I'm on a road trip right now. I am with one of my sister friends, one of my travel buddies, and we drove all the way from the DMV to Iowa. I have never been in the car that long before. Usually, when I take road trips, I will fly to the first destination and then I'll rent a car and then drive through the other states, which are usually clustered and near each other. This is my first time doing a real road trip. So I am currently in Iowa. This is my state number 45 My goal with my domestic travel is to visit all 50 states before the age of 50. So I'm currently in state 45. So that means I have 5 more states to go. And in this road trip, I think we're going to get in 4 more. And then I'll do something really, really special for number 50 during the year of my 50th. But yeah, so it's been pretty cool. Iowa's actually been a pleasant surprise, if y'all can believe that or not. Look, multifaceted. Exactly, girl. Look, what's in Iowa? That's exactly what I was wondering. I was surprised that they have an African American museum, one that is actually very, very nice. And the reviews online were exceptional. I was like, first of all, y'all got black people in Iowa? Don't nobody come for me in the comments. But Iowa and Nebraska, I was like, do they got black people there? So that's why I left these states for last because I wasn't sure. But multifaceted girl, I was asking the same question, and I am actually pleasantly surprised. I'm pleasantly surprised. I'll do a video when I'm done with this road trip to share more of what I experienced. But I got a lot of great pictures. If you follow me on Instagram, I share pictures in real time in my stories. So I haven't been here long, so you haven't seen much on Instagram yet. I think I posted like 2 or 3 times so far, but I usually share more pictures in my stories. But then it takes me a little while to put together a YouTube video because of all the editing and stuff. But my Instagram financial besties see stuff as I do it. So follow me over there. I'm Money Coach Malika on Instagram too. But anyway, it's some interesting things to do here. And I will definitely share that with you later if you're interested. Sasa Tropica, she says she's a new financial bestie. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Glad you're here. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing. What are y'all doing for the spring? Y'all taking any trips this spring? I'm staying domestic for another month and a half. I'll be in the United States doing some domestic travel. Staying in the US doing some domestic travel. We have a beautiful country, y'all. As much as we want to get out and get away, I have to be honest, we have a beautiful country. We really do. Every state is different. The landscape of every state, the skyline of every city, it's all different. And it's been a beautiful thing to see. And when I'm done with all 50, I want to do something special and put a little something together with pictures from all 50. But yeah, I've been enjoying the journey. Been enjoying the journey. What y'all saying in the comments? Hey Elle, hey girl, hey, I see you. Hey girl, hey, Tanya Brooks, I see you too. But anyway, let's get into the topic, shall we? I wanted to frame the video for women in their 40s a little differently than I did for the 20s and 30s. So in the 20s and 30s, if you haven't watched those videos, they were more foundational personal finance beginner steps that you should do if you want to become a millionaire one day, or if you want to achieve financial independence and retire early one day. So, those are all the beginner steps that you should be considering when you're in those age ranges. And if you're already beyond those age ranges, you can still go back to watch those videos and implement some of those steps right now. It's never too late, but it's just ideal that you do things like maximize your income, pay off debt, start investing in your 401k, the beginner things. But I realized that some of us, we didn't know about those things in our 20s and 30s. So if you're in your 40s and you don't have the foundation that I've already talked about in the video for the 20s and 30s, please go back and watch those videos because I'm not going to recap them in this video. I'm not going to go into detail. But by the time you're in your 40s, you should have a pretty solid handle on your foundation in terms of you're in the process of paying off high interest rate debt if you haven't already. You should be pretty solid in your career field by now and in some of the highest earning years of your career. So, talking about how to earn more income or how to increase your salary, it's probably not going to be too helpful for you right now. And then, as we know, in your 40s, that's usually when employers start age discrimination. That's why we got laws that protect us. But sometimes advancing, if you haven't already gotten that ball rolling in your career, is a little more difficult due to age discrimination. So I acknowledge all of that. But once you are established in your career, once you have your emergency fund, which is 3 to 6 months of your living expenses, once you are hopefully working on becoming debt free or at least starting to pay off the debt. You may not be completely debt free in your 40s because in your 30s, you probably accumulated some debt. But at least I hope you're working on paying off that debt. But all of that is what I consider foundational stuff. So by the time you're in your 40s, I'm going to assume that you've been through some life changes. You probably have been divorced by the time you're 40. You probably are, raising children that are a little older. They're going to be going off to college soon or already in college. So you have an empty nest. You can focus more on yourself. You're not dealing with the high, ridiculous expenses of daycare. All of those things are behind you. And this is like a second act for you by the time you're in your 40s, because now you can focus on yourself, right? Am I right? Y'all let me know. What's the age range of us in the comments right now? Who's watching live? What's your age range? You don't have to give your actual age, but tell me if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. What's your age range? And does this range that you're in right now, does it feel like a second act for you? Like an act two? Now you can focus on yourself. Now you can do your own thing. At least it was for me. Y'all know I was a young single mom. So by the time I was 40, my kid was in college. And I'm 40 with all the freedoms that all of my friends no longer had because they just started having kids in their 30s. So I was free by then. I was free. Okay, Tanya Brooks in your 40s, Elle in your 50s. Okay. Does this feel like a second act for you? Are you able to focus on yourself now? Multifaceted me in her 50s. Yeah. Venus 64. Okay. Okay. I see the seasoned sisters are with us. All right. Thank you so much for being here. Does this feel like a second act for you? Are you in a position now where you don't have to worry about young children anymore? You don't have to worry about anybody else taking priority over your money? Are you in a point in your life where you can prioritize yourself? That's really what I'm asking, right? Because the way I want to talk tonight about money is with the assumption that you can prioritize yourself. This is a second act that's all about you. Yes, Tanya Brooks said yes. This is a second act that's all about you. So, if you're watching me, I'm assuming you are interested in financial independence because that's all I talk about over here. So, if you hear, I'm just going to assume that's what you're interested in. But if you desire to achieve financial independence, there are three essentials to financial independence. Multifaceted said that she loves this time of life. I know that's right. My 40s has been the best decade of my life. I have been loving life every year since I've been in my 40s, and every year gets better and better. I love this for you, multifaceted me. Yes, I agree 100%. But in order to achieve financial independence, you need three essential things. And all of these things are related to investing. You hear me talk about investing all the time. Um, I mentioned, investing in your 401k for the ladies in their 20s, investing in your Roth IRA for the ladies in their 30s. In your 40s, it's time to get serious. It's time to get serious. If you are not investing already, or if you are investing and you're not investing consistently, or if you are investing consistently and you are not investing with intention, with a purpose, with a strategy, now is the time for you to get serious. And I want you to understand why. I don't want to just keep saying you need to be investing now, you need to start investing now. I want you to understand why. Because if financial independence or millionaire status is your goal, there are three essential elements to that. In order to achieve financial independence, you have to have three things that are working in your favor. Number one is time. Number one is time. And if you didn't start investing with intention in your 20s and your 30s, you have to do that now. You have to do that now. It's not too late because you still have many years ahead of you. You still have more years ahead of you than you do behind you. But this is that year in the middle, that median decade where you need to make that decision before you have more years behind you than you do ahead of you. So you still have time now. But that is the greatest asset that works to your advantage when you're trying to achieve financial independence is time. The second thing you need is capital. You need more capital to invest. So if you still got high interest credit card debt, or you still running up credit cards, or you still creating bills where your money is being taken away from you and you're not centering yourself in your act two, you don't have as much capital to invest. In your 40s, because we missed the decade of your 20s and 30s, now you need to take advantage of time and capital. So you need to free up as much capital as you can. And I'm going to break each one of these down and I'm going to give you some examples in a minute. But I want you to understand the three essential elements first. The third thing you need, if your plan is to achieve financial independence and hopefully retire early, or if retiring early isn't your goal, retiring comfortably at minimum. I know everybody wants to retire comfortably. Even if you love your job and you plan to continue working until retirement, that's fine. You don't have to retire early, but I know for a fact you want to retire comfortably. Don't you? But in order to do that, you also need a rate of return. A rate of return that's high enough to compound the interest of the capital that you're putting into the market so that it is working harder for you than the amount of money that you're making from work. Because you're human. You have a limited number of hours in the day. You have a limited number of hours that you work. So working is not going to make you rich. Saving is not going to make you rich. It's not going to get you to financial independence. You need a rate of return. So you need to be doing something so that your money is working for you and creating money babies for you. And it needs to be creating money babies faster than the money that you're earning. So I'm putting those three things out there up front so you can hear what you need. Now I'm going to give you an example of each one of them. Time, capital, and rate of return. Anybody that wants to achieve financial independence, all you need really is a lot of one of those three things I mentioned. The more you have of one, the less you need of the other two. The more time you have on your side, the less capital and the less of the rate of return you need. It can be a lower rate of return because you have more time to create money babies. The more you have of capital, the less time you need because you can invest more, and the less rate of return you need because you're putting more into the market and you can get an average rate of return and still achieve financial independence. The more you have of a rate of return, let's say you were an active investor or a trader and you were able to get a higher return on your investment to compound your money faster, the less you need of time and capital. So you only need a lot of one of the things in order to achieve financial independence. But if you've waited until your 40s, you have less time. And if you are still carrying high interest rate debt and the majority of your money is going towards paying off your debt and you have to split your capital between debt and investing, you have less capital. And if you are not actively learning how to invest and actively advancing your investing skills so that you can learn how to create that higher rate of return, then you won't have a high rate of return working to your advantage in the market. So you will be limited to accepting the average rate of return. So the less you have of each of those three, the less likely you are to achieve financial independence. But the more you have of any one of those things, the more likely you can achieve financial independence, even if you don't have the other two. Am I making sense? Does everyone understand what I'm saying? So think of these three things as like levers that you pull. The more you have of one of the levers that you can pull all the way down, you don't even have to pull the other two. But the less you have of each one, the less likely you're going to achieve financial independence. Right now in your 40s, you still have time on your side. If you're in your 40s, traditional retirement age isn't until 65. You have 25 years, or at least 20 years, to continue investing before you start your drawdown phase. So you still have a lot of lever number one. If you have no debt and you're able to invest a significant amount of your income, you have a lot of number two. If you learn how to invest, instead of just saving your money in a savings account and only earning 0.05% if it's in a regular savings account, or even 5% if it's in a high yield savings account. If you learn how to invest, you will be able to get a higher rate of return. Even if you don't have, number one, time on your side, or number two, a whole lot of capital to put in the market. By investing, you will get a higher return than what's in your savings account. So you have to pull one of these levers and have one of them working to your advantage. Y'all follow what I'm saying? Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? You have to have a lot of at least one of the levers. So if you are in your 40s and you are not yet investing with intention and strategically, now is the time to start so you can maximize lever number one. All right. So I'm going to paint another picture for you for each one of those levers, someone that can easily achieve financial independence. So with time, of course, we know, let's say a young person, let's say our sisters that watch the video about women in their 20s, let's say they take advantage of everything I shared. If a young person starts investing at the age of 25, they have a lot of time on their side. They have 40 years to invest. That sister does not need a lot of money to start, and she doesn't even need a high rate of return. All she needs to do is to get started and put like $1,000 in the market every couple of months, or maybe a couple of thousand every year. And she can put it in a broad-based index fund in the stock market, and that money is going to compound like a snowball rolling downhill. That money is going to compound for her, and sis ain't got to do nothing because she started early and she pulled the lever of time. She's automatically going to become a millionaire. She's automatically going to be financial independent because she doesn't have to do anything else. She doesn't have to do anything from 2 or 3 because she's maximizing the lever number 1, time. Right? An example for someone that has a lot of capital but don't have a lot of time and don't have a high rate of return. Let's say a person that comes from money. That's usually what we typically think of when we think about a person that's rich or financially independent or a millionaire. We assume, oh, they come from money, or they have a lot of money, or they received a large inheritance. That is one example, but it's not the only example. But that person is very likely to become a millionaire if she isn't already. But if she receives a large inheritance and she invests that in the stock market, let's say in her 40s, because she has a lot of capital, she pulled lever 2, and she still has a little bit of time on her side. But by pulling lever 2 and investing that inheritance, if she has at least 5 or 10 years to invest, she's going to become a millionaire too, because she has that lever 2 to take advantage of. She's pulling that lever 2. Right? An example of the third one, rate of return. Let's say a person does not start investing until their 40s. Let's say they fit the demographic of who this video is for. She didn't start until her 40s. So she doesn't have a lot of time on her side. And let's say she just paid off her high interest debt, but she still has some other debt that's a little low interest. So she's still paying that off, but it's not high interest debt. So her money is still being split between debt and investing, but she dedicates herself to learning how to invest. She dedicates herself to learning how to be an active investor. So she's able to get a higher rate of return when she invests. So she doesn't have as much time on her side. She doesn't have as much capital to invest, but she has some. She has some time and she has some capital, but not a lot. But she's able to get a higher rate of return because she's invested the time and the effort to learn how to be a profitable, active investor. Then she can maximize her gains with the return. So she pulled lever 3, right? So she pulled lever 3. So as long as you have a lot of any one of those levers, you don't need as much of the other 2. Right? Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? You're picking up what I'm putting down. Tanya Brooks said it's making sense. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the feedback. Good. Multifaceted Me says picking it up, trying to become a quick study. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. Let's talk about it. Tonight is all about you. Let's talk about it. Tonight is all about you. Hilda, let's see, New Vision. Hey, girl, hey. Gems, and you're getting caught up. Awesome. Hilda, let me see what you are sharing with us. I'm always changing the way I distribute my money. Sometimes I do 30, 50, 20. Time I do nothing. Finding a fixed method to pay off debt, save, and life is a battle for sure. Tell me more. Is there a question there? Is there a question there that you want to ask to possibly help you stop fighting the battle? Because money shouldn't be complicated. Money shouldn't be complicated. Let's simplify it for you so you're not fighting a battle. What kind of debt do you have? Is it high interest rate debt? Is it a mortgage, student loans? Share a little more. Let's simplify that battle. Money shouldn't be a battle. Money should always be working for you. Hey, Eileen, my good sis Eileen. What's up, girl? What's up? What's up? What's up? But yeah, if y'all have any questions about anything I'm sharing about your personal finance situation, any investing questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. I'm here for you. This video is for you. But let's get back to the topic in the meantime, and I'll keep my eye on the comments over there. But let's say you want to have, and I'm just making up a number. Let's say you want to have 500,000 in your portfolio at retirement, because that's the number I used in the 30s video. So let's work with that number. Let's say you want 500,000 in your portfolio at retirement across all of your accounts, your 401k, your Roth IRA, your individual taxable brokerage, across all of your accounts, you want 500,000. But you didn't get serious about your finances until your 40s. You didn't get serious until now. That is probably the case for the vast majority of people. So you're not alone. I don't want you to judge yourself. I don't want you to beat yourself up about what you didn't know in the past, what you should have done, what you could have done. The past is the past. Let's talk about what you can do right now. So people who desire financial independence and want to retire early, or like I said, simply want to retire comfortably. And let's say that number for you is 500,000. If you are just getting serious about your finances now in your 40s, you have to pull at least 2 of those 3 levers at the same time. You have to pull at least 2 of those 3 levers at the same time. In my opinion, I think the easiest of the 2 is lever 1 and 2, time and capital. Because if you're in your 40s, you still have at least 20 years ahead of you before retirement. Use those 20 years to your advantage. Start investing now. Invest with a plan. Invest with intention. Invest with a strategy. This is not the time to be doing things all willy-nilly, to be having a whole bunch of accounts all over the place, to have a messy portfolio with 20 different stocks and 20 different funds, and you don't know about what any of them do. You just guessing. You playing around with your money. You playing in your own face because you have no strategy. You got a messy portfolio. Now's the time to be strategic. Clean all that up. Now's the time to be strategic. You need to pull at least 2 of the 3 levers. It's easy to say, number 1, take advantage of time by starting. If you've been watching my channel for more than a month, you should have started investing by now. If you haven't, y'all know I have a free investor guide. I think the link is in the description. Free investor guide. I explain to you how to get started. I explain to you the most common mistakes that all investors make, not just new investors, the most common mistakes that all investors make and how you can avoid those mistakes. If you're just getting started, I also share with you 3 of my favorite ETFs that you can start investing in. And I also share additional resources if you need more guidance. All of that is in my free investor guide that is in the description. I'm also going to, I need to already have this up when I mention the guide. I'm also going to share it with you in the comments. So if you have not started, investing yet, use the free investor guide to help you get started. All right. Start pulling lever one. That is time. Start pulling lever one. So, how can we choose which of the other two levers to pull? Because if you want to achieve financial independence, you have to pull at least two of them, preferably all three, but at least two of them. When I got serious about my finances and I decided I wanted to retire early, I started focusing on all three of them. I started focusing on all three of them, especially number two. The majority of the people who are on track to achieve financial independence, they usually have a target of investing at least 50% of their net income. They usually have a target of investing at least 50% of their net income. And I don't know if y'all watched the last video with my sis, Coach B. She says some things may sound challenging when you hear them. But if you are on a mission and you have a goal that you want to achieve, you need to be willing to do something strange for some change. That's what she said. I'm giving all credit to Coach B. An example of doing something strange for some change, I know the first thing came to my mind was, but we're not talking about that. But doing things that are outside of the ordinary, doing things that society does not encourage, that society has not normalized, that your friends or family may look at you funny if you do it. They may question, why are you doing that, girl? You make all that money. Why are you doing that? By choosing to do things for you and your goals and not listening to the noise that's going on around you because you're not adhering to status quo, because you're not giving into what society says is the appearance of wealth or the appearance of success. So, one of the strange things that I did for some change, I downsized. I downsized my living situation. I moved outside of the major metropolitan area where I was living, where the metro was only like a 5 minute, if 5 minute drive from my job. Real estate is all about location, location, location. I moved outside of the metropolitan area, so I was further from work, and I downsized the size of my home. I went through everything I owned. Once I decided I wanted to reach my fire number, once I decided I did not want to work past 50, once I decided that goal was important to me and I was going to achieve that goal by any means necessary, once I decided that this job was stressing me out and I didn't want to go to another job, I wanted this to be my last job, I was willing to do anything strange for some change. And the choice that I made was downsizing my lifestyle, moving away from the city and moving into a smaller home. It was probably about half the size. Now, I will admit I was able to do that because my daughter was no longer living at home by then. She was no longer living at home. But I went through everything I owned. If I hadn't used it in a year or two, I got rid of it. Either sold it, donated it, gave it away, threw it in the trash. I got rid of it because a lot of the space that I was paying for was just to store junk I wasn't using. So I had to get rid of a lot of things in order to be able to fit my life in this smaller space. And by doing that, I saved several $100s per month. Several $100s per month. And I invested all of it. That is how I got my investment rate, or you may have heard the term your savings rate. That is how I got my savings rate up to 50%. I was willing to be a little uncomfortable temporarily in order to achieve my long-term goal. Y'all know what my life is now, so I don't need to say it. Was it worth that sacrifice for the years that I was in that smaller home? Absolutely. Absolutely. I freed up hundreds of dollars every single month, probably more if I think about all the other ways I saved. But just from my housing cost alone, I freed up hundreds of dollars and invested all of that money. And that took my savings rate from, I think I was at about 35 to 40% before I moved. And after I moved, it bumped my savings rate up to over 50%. That increased my lever number two, my capital. So think about doing something strange for some change. Think about what you're willing to give up if that goal is really important to you. What are you willing to temporarily give up, I should say? Because it's just temporary. It's just temporary. It's not forever. If it causes you some discomfort, it's just temporary. It's not forever. You just got your eyes on the prize. You're focused on the goal, right? So, what are you willing to do in order to maximize and pull lever number two? If you have debt, I'll use that example because I saw some people in the chat that said they had debt. I'm going to go back, Hilda, and look at your response to my question. I think that was Hilda I was talking to. Yeah, I'll go back and look at your response. If you have debt, what are you willing to do to make yourself slightly uncomfortable so you can expedite paying off that debt? And once you pay off that debt, that will give you more leverage to pull lever number two. That will give you more money to invest in the stock market. Because if your comfort today is not worth sacrificing for what you really want in the future, keep doing what you're doing. Take your time. It's no judgment. As most people say, everybody in debt. Everybody gonna always have some debt. I don't believe that. But that's the norm. That's what we've normalized in our American society. So if you're comfortable and you're not willing to sacrifice anything, that means financial independence is not really important to you. But you have to be willing to sacrifice something for a larger goal that's important to you. So, can you downsize your home so you will have extra disposable income to pay off your debt faster? Can you move in with a family member for 6 months to a year to strategically pay off that debt faster? Are you willing to rent out a room in your current home to bring in extra income to pay off that debt faster? What are you willing to do? What are you willing to do that's outside of the norm in order to be able to pull lever two harder? Let me know. Let me know what's realistic for you. And then I want you to stretch yourself a little bit further than what's realistic because I want you to be uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable for me to move from my luxury apartment with the doorman, with the indoor theater, the indoor basketball court, with like all of the amenities you can possibly think of, living only 5 minutes from the metro. It was uncomfortable for me to give that up, to say, in this date, in the future, I want to stop working. And I know in order to get there, in order to make that possible, I have to be uncomfortable right now. And when I started looking for places I wanted to live, I made up all the excuses in my mind, but it's so far. I'm going to have to commute. I'm going to have a longer commute to work. It's so far. This place is so small. I've never lived in a place this small before. Oh my goodness, this place doesn't have a doorman. This place doesn't have a theater. I lived in a place that had a theater, a basketball court, everything indoors. I gave it all up. All of those amenities, I gave it up because I had a larger goal that was more important to me. I didn't care. I didn't care what other people think. My family and friends used to always want to come to my house because they wanted to use the theater as the gathering space for our parties, for our events. My friends used to come to my house to watch Scandal. We used to have Scandal watching parties on the theater screen. My house was the hangout spot. I gave all of that up because I had a larger goal. So it was not comfortable to get rid of my belongings. It was not comfortable to move to this smaller space. We used to laugh about it, me and one of my friends. We called it the matchbox because that's how small it was. I moved from a comfortable luxury home to what my friends jokingly called the matchbox. If you can imagine that, it literally was the matchbox. And I still used to host little events here and there, very small ones, but it was not the same. It was not the same. It was uncomfortable. But that is how I achieved my goal, by allowing myself to be uncomfortable for a little while. So how are you, or what are you willing to do to be uncomfortable for a little while so you can pull lever 2 a little bit more? Let me see your comments before I go any further. We're going to talk about lever 3 too. Let's see, Hilda. I have credit cards and student loans. Okay. I want to focus on saving and have at least 1 year saved, but I feel guilty because I have debt. I hope that makes sense. That absolutely does make sense. Having 1 year saved gives you a sense of security based on your lived experiences in your life. If you have any financial anxiety, I can understand why you will want to have 1 year saved. But if you have credit card debt, I want you to think about how you're digging yourself deeper in the hole if you're prioritizing savings over the credit card debt. Now, sis, between me and you, come a little closer. Come a little closer. We ain't gonna worry about them student loans right now. I told y'all, let Uncle Joe do his job. We ain't gonna worry about them student loans right now. But that credit card debt, sis, we need to talk about the credit card debt. I am going to guess that the interest rate on your credit card debt is more than 20%. Am I right? Am I right? If it is, the interest rate you're going to earn on your savings is only 5%. So if you prioritize earning 5% over paying off something that's costing you 20%, you know what I call that? You know what I call that? Sis, I call that hustling backwards. You're not getting ahead. So while saving 1 year may give you some financial security internally, you're actually not financially secure at all. You're increasing your financial risk because you're digging yourself deeper in a hole. It's not financial security at all if you're hustling backwards and digging yourself deeper in a hole. So if I were coaching you, which I'm not because I need to know more about your situation if I were coaching you, but if I were coaching you just on the surface, just based on what you've shared, if I were coaching you and if I were in your shoes, I would not prioritize savings over paying off the credit card debt. I would focus on them both. I would focus on them both. And the savings, I would stop saving after I have about 1,000 or 2,000 in savings. And then I would put everything towards the credit card debt. That credit card debt is a ball and chain. That credit card debt gonna keep you in bondage. That credit card debt gonna keep you from your other goals. The credit card debt is like taking one step forward, putting money in your savings, and then 2 steps back. The ball and chain from the credit card debt. taking one step forward and two steps back. So if you keep taking one step forward and two steps back, how much progress have you made? How financially secure are you really? Right? So I do believe you should have some savings. So don't ignore your savings. Do both. But after you have your baseline $1,000, $2,000, other than your retirement investments and savings, getting the company match through your 401k, everything else, every extra dollar that you don't need to live on should go towards that credit card debt. Get rid of the ball and chain. Get rid of the ball and chain so you can run faster. So you can run towards your goals faster. Okay? Venus Kirby, I have student loan debt and medical debt. I find it difficult to wrap my head around making my money grow. Student loan debt. I'm not going to comment on the student loan debt. Y'all know how I feel about that. The medical debt. Have you contacted the hospital to ask about any hardship forgiveness or any financial assistance programs? Are you able to afford to pay off the medical debt? I hate that our country has such ridiculous rates on medical care. I mean, I think medical debt, and this is no judgment against you. I'm talking about our country as a whole. Like we can have an MRI done in Costa Rica and pay $75. But here in the United States, it will cost $2,500. Like that large of a discrepancy for the same procedure makes absolutely no sense to me. So, in my opinion, I think the rates that they're charging us are overinflated anyway, and they know that they're charging so much. So when someone can't afford to pay and have a real financial need, that's why they're so quick to offer forgiveness or to offer some type of assistance, because they know that price that they charge you didn't make sense anyway. They know good and well they didn't pay or have an expense that was anywhere near what they charged you as the patient. So I'm sorry for the rant. I just went on a rant. I just hate our sick care system. I won't call it medical care or health care either. I hate our sick care system. But have you asked the hospital for any type of forgiveness or grace, hardship, need based, anything like that? Have you researched in your state to see if there are any programs available that can help you to pay it off? Um, I don't know what the balance of the debt is, but I believe that was a law that was recently passed, recently, like in the past 5 years, that if the medical debt is under a certain amount, and I don't want to say the amount because I don't want to steer you wrong, but if the medical debt is under a certain amount, it can't be reported to your credit report. But have you sought out any type of assistance instead of assuming the burden all yourself? That's the point I'm trying to make. I know medical debt can feel like you're buried, and I hate that about the United States. I really do. So I understand what you're feeling, Venus. You find it difficult to wrap your head around making your money grow. Um, is it possible for you to start with just a little bit, even with the debt you have? Same response I gave to Hilda, just starting with a little bit to save and making that grow while you prioritize the debt, but having a little bit of cushion that's starting to compound that snowball rolling down the hill for you, right? A little bit of cushion that's starting to grow for you on its own. Do you have something that you're able to put towards the future, Venus? Have you Have you considered for the student loans? I know that comes up a lot and I ignore it. But for the student loans, have you considered the income based payment plans to lower the payment on your student loans so you'll have extra money to do other things with? I have more questions than answers, and that's usually how I am when I'm coaching too, because there is no one right answer to any situation. Personal finance is not black and white. Personal finance is not just one plus one equal two. There are so many nuances that are unique to you. I um, I can't just give one answer without asking more questions to understand the full scope of who you are and your money situation. But I hope those questions help you to think about some steps that you could take. So I hope that was helpful. Let's see, multifaceted me. I guess my strategy will be finding broad based index funds that will bring a high rate of return. How do you research to find them? I'm thinking of some AI, medical, tech. Your thoughts? Broad based index funds are neither of those things. Broad based index funds are funds that track the index, the total index of the stock market. So let's say, for example, AI. AI is a tech companies, usually tech companies. Tech companies have tech, there's a tech sector in the stock market, and then there's also an index that's a tech index in the stock market, or that has mostly tech companies in the index in the stock market. So broad based index funds are the whole index with all of the companies in it, and you're buying a fund that tracks the entire index. Medical, there is a medical sector in the stock market. Tech, we already talked about tech, AI, and tech would be within the same sector. So broad based, think more broadly. The things that you mentioned, they're very specific. So when you're new to investing and you're investing in broad based index funds, you're investing in the entire index. The three major indices in the stock market is the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, and the Dow Jones. So broad based index funds are index funds that track one of those major three indices or a sector within the index. Uh, the investor guide, have you used it? Because if you have used it, it would answer the rest of the questions for you. We'll definitely be doing coaching with you starting next month. Okay. I look forward to that, Hilda. I look forward to that. I definitely think we can make some progress if I could gather more information from you. Yeah, I have at least started investing in the market. I just know you don't know if it will be enough. That is a common concern that most people have. If you are in your Venus, I think you said you were in your 40s. What are you? Oh, Venus, you're 64. You're 64. I understand. Valid concern. If you're just getting started in your 60s, um, I understand your concern. The way I like to look at it, help you reframe a little bit, what is enough? So, in order to determine what is enough, it's better to think about what type of lifestyle do you want to live. And the reason why I want you to reframe it that way is because our country has a weird way of inflating everything, even like the medical prices. But they have a weird way of inflating everything. You hear financial experts saying you need $10 million in order to retire, you need $5 million to do XYZ. So, because people hear those large numbers, they automatically feel defeated and think, well, shoot, if I need that much to retire, I'm never going to retire because I won't have enough. That's usually what's driving that statement, because you're thinking you need a certain amount because it's what you've heard someone else say, what you've seen on the news and the media, what you may have heard a financial expert say. I say ignore all the noise. Enough is different for each one of us because it depends on the lifestyle that you want to live and how much that lifestyle is going to cost you. That's what enough is. How much is that lifestyle going to cost you? So what do you want when you decide to retire? I'm assuming you're still working, even though you said you were 64. But what do you want? What type of lifestyle do you want? And what other sources of income do you have coming in? Do you have Social Security? Do you have a pension? Right? So all those two are guaranteed sources of income, even if you don't invest. But investing just adds another leg. It gives you a three-legged stool. I mean, a three legs to your stool to make your stool feel a little more balanced, to make your retirement a little more comfortable. But what is enough for you? That depends. Depends on the lifestyle you want to live. So I don't want to discourage you. I don't want you to be too down on yourself just because you're just starting now. But think about what type of lifestyle you want to live to determine what's enough because that's unique to you. Okay. Let's see. If you missed it, the free investor guide is there. moneycoachmalika.com. I think that's a // start investing. I want all of us to be in the market, especially by our 40s, Okay. Multifaceted me, but I'm now daunted by my age. Am I gonna get me? Girl, what you saying? I don't know what you're saying. As they say down south. Okay. That's a southern phrase. Am I gonna get me mine? You're gonna have to educate me. You're gonna have to educate me, sis, because I have no idea what that means. Let's see. Okay, we got another question from Hilda. All right, Hilda, this is going to be the last question from you because I want to see if anybody else has questions. I still put money into my Fidelity Roth IRA. Would it be better to just put that money into my brokerage instead since I want to retire early? Hilda, this is not a question I can answer with the limited information I have. I need to understand your entire financial picture. I don't have enough information. I will give a general response, but that doesn't mean this applies to you. Okay? For those of us who choose to retire early, we do typically, I'm going to go out on a limb and say all of us. I'm going to say all of us. For those of us that retire early, meaning before the age of 50, because most retirement accounts you can't access until age 59 and a half, right? So those of us who retire early, I'm going to bet all of us have an investment account that's a taxable brokerage account that's separate from our retirement accounts because we need access to money to fill the gap between when we decided to stop work and when we will be eligible to draw down from our retirement funds. So most of us do have a separate brokerage account from that. But that does not mean we stop investing in our retirement funds. Again, we can't focus so much on right now and ignore the future because the time is going to pass anyway. You ignore the future, it's going to catch up with you anyway. So the reason why we try to target that 50% savings rate is because we're investing enough to spread it across all of the accounts. But yes, most of us that retire early, like before 50, we usually also have a taxable brokerage account that's separate from our retirement accounts. All right. Question. Okay, here we go. Question. I'm contributing to my full 3B up to my company match. Awesome. I love that for you. Should I invest more to that or more to a Roth IRA? If I were you, and I'm also going to explain to you what I would do. So I'm answering the question if I were you, not giving you advice, not giving you coaching, again, because I don't understand your full financial picture. If I were you, I would invest up to the company match because that's free money we don't want to leave on the table. But the Roth IRA was next for me because I wanted to secure money under an umbrella that would not be taxed later on. I wanted to make sure that I had money under an account that will grow tax free. Because part of building wealth, there's a strategy in building wealth and a strategy of preserving your wealth. And part of preserving your wealth is making sure Uncle Sam don't take all of it away from you. Now, your 401k with your employer is tax deferred. So you're not paying taxes on that money when it goes in. But when you're 59 and a half and you start drawing down, you're going to pay taxes, right? And that's okay because usually the tax bracket that you fall in retirement is lower than when it was when you were. Let me say that again. That is okay for most people because for the average person, the tax bracket that you are in your retirement years is usually lower than the tax bracket that you're in your highest earning years. So by taking advantage of your 401k, lowering your taxable income when your earnings are at their highest is a good thing, but you also want to think about the future. You want to compound those money babies and grow them in the Roth IRA. So at age 59 and a half, you can withdraw the money as much as you want and pay no taxes, right? So it's a tax um, incentive that's kind of opposite of the 401k. So after I reached the match, the company match, I maxed out my Roth IRA next. And then I went back to my 401k or 403b for you and then maxed out that. But I wanted to make sure I padded as much as I could in an account that would not be taxable for me later. Again, this is not financial advice, but it's what I would do, right? It's what I would do. Hilda says she's a therapist willing to open my own practice. Currently working on it now. Awesome. Awesome, Hilda. We need more Black therapists. I love that. I love to hear that from you. Chanel. Okay. I'm looking for cues, questions. Chanel, you know what's wild? Prior to the pandemic, my tiny little house was still party central. People do not need grandeur. Exactly. They just do not want to have to clean up. No stunting needed. Exactly. I still invited my friends over. In fact, I started my group, the group coaching program that's the Sister Circle, that the idea of that was cultivated from one of my get-togethers in my tiny little place. My friends came over, we had a little potluck, everybody brought something, I had some things already prepared, and we talked money. We talked about their money, and the whole idea of the Sister Circle was born during one of those little gatherings in my tiny little apartment. So I'm with you, sis. Your friends that really matter, they don't care about the size of your place. They just don't want to clean up. But my friends did help me clean up. They just don't want a whole lot to clean up. No stunting needed. Absolutely right. No stunting needed. Any strategic ideas? Nicole LaShawn. Nicole LaShawn. Hey, sis. Are you a new financial bestie? Or have I just not seen your name ask a question before? Any strategic ideas on the best way to pay for children's college, use funds from high yield savings account, reduce taxable income to qualify for loans, allow them to emancipate 529? This question has nothing to do with millionaire money moves for women in their 40s to achieve financial independence. It has nothing to do with children. This is our act two. We ain't worried about these kids. We focusing on ourselves. So to stay focused on the topic and to give respect to the viewers who came here for the topic, we're gonna put a star on this question. And the next time I do like a Q&A video, I welcome you to come back with that question. All right, sis? Let's see. Yeah, sick care system. The U.S. has a sick care system, not a medical or healthcare system. Yeah. Ooh, this is a good one. Have you seen the ad on YouTube of the old couples that warn about bad financial decisions? And their tagline is "Don't make your future you hate you." I have not seen that, but I like that thought. That's a sobering thought, and that's what I meant. Completely understand. And the reason why I understand is because when I think about the life I live today, I tell Malika, 35-year-old Malika, 40-year-old Malika, you did that, sis. I appreciate you because she was thinking about me. She wasn't thinking about herself right in that moment. She was thinking about me. And I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing now if she didn't think about me. I would still be in that stressful job. I will still be dreading Monday mornings. I will still not be able to sleep on Sunday nights because I got knots in my stomach thinking about the mess I'm going to go back to work to when I open my email inbox. I have the freedom that I have now because of the decisions that 40-year-old Malika made. The decisions that 35-year-old Malika made. So don't make your future you hate you. I haven't seen that ad, but I like it. Thank you so much for sharing that. Please, please start today. I don't care what your financial situation is. Start today. You're in your 40s and you have not started investing and putting your money to work for you. At some point in your life, you're going to have to stop working. You're not going to be able to work forever. But if you put your money to work for you now, your money can take over and do some of the work for you so you can work less. So start thinking about your future self, not just the multifaceted me today, the Hilda today, the Chef B today, the Maya Spikes today, the Venus today, the Chanel today, the Malikas today. Think about your future self and what she will thank you for because you started now. Thank you, sis, for sharing that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Oh, you're so welcome, Venus. I love the way the community is supporting each other. I love that. You're welcome, Venus. Let's see. What percentage? This is a good question. Alona Ignacio. I haven't seen your name before either. Welcome. What percentage does a brokerage account get taxed when you start pulling money out? It's a great question. And is this the best accounts to save in outside of retirement accounts and high yield savings accounts? I'll answer the first one. It depends on how long you've held the asset, right? So there is a thing called long-term capital gains and short-term, right? Long-term capital gains is if you hold the asset for a year and a day. For a year and a day. If you buy a stock today, if you invest today, and you try to pull that money out April 18th, 2025, anytime before April 20th, 2025, I should say, you're going to be taxed on that withdrawal based on the same tax rate as your ordinary income, right? So if you earn $10,000 from work, whatever your tax rate is on that $10,000 is the same tax rate that's going to be applied to withdrawing a $10,000 investment if you only held it for a year or less. But if you hold it for a year and a day, then it will be classified as long-term capital gains, and there's a completely different tax bracket for long-term capital gains. Between 0 and 47,000-ish. I don't remember the exact number off the top of my head. The long-term capital gains tax rate is 0. The long-term capital gains tax rate is a game changer. It's a completely different tax bracket than if you earn money from working a job. Our tax system was not created to benefit workers. Our tax system was created to benefit investors and business owners. So that's even more incentive for you to invest. You're creating money without labor. Your money starts making more than you made when you worked a job, and it's taxed at a lower rate. Why wouldn't you invest? So, short answer to your question, it depends on how long you held the asset, and it depends on how much you're taking out. Okay. Second question, is this the best account to save and outside of a retirement account and high yield savings accounts? I'm not sure what you are asking there, but we just talked about it in one of the last questions. Your retirement account getting up to the match in your 401k, your 403b, and then redirecting your funds to your Roth IRA because that money is protected under a tax umbrella that will not be taxed as long as you wait until age 59 and a half to pull the money out, tax-free and penalty-free. All right. Simone. Oh, good question. Hello, I have a 3.8% mortgage and the monthly payment is $900. I want to retire early in my 50s. Does it make sense to pay it off? This is actually a really good question, but unfortunately, I have to tell you that I cannot answer this question without understanding your full financial picture. It depends. It depends. I can't answer questions like this with this limited amount of information. Just on the surface, I can give you a general response. And my general response is based on seeing a 3.8% rate. If I can earn 12 to 15% in the stock market in my sleep, should I put my money in the stock market or should I pay off a 3.8% debt? What would you do? And this is without knowing anything about the rest of your financial picture. But just based on the limited information you shared, I can only give you a limited response. These types of questions are so good, but I wish you were my client because I will pull back the layers of everything to be able to give you a more detailed, more tailored, more specific answer. But generally speaking, sis, when I see 3.8%, I'm like, I can make 5 times that in the stock market. That mortgage company ain't getting my money. That mortgage company ain't getting my money. But general answer. Hope that helps. Let's see. I am new to your channel. Hello, QM. And wanted to get some clarity on the first 100K. Is that in a retirement account or a brokerage account? It sounds like you're referring to something that was stated in the past, maybe? I'm not following you. Give me some context. The first 100K invested, is that in a retirement account or brokerage account? I'm not sure I understand what you're saying. Would I put the first 100K in a retirement account or brokerage account? Is that what you're asking me? Not sure. Need more context. If this question is something related to something you may have seen in the past, let me know. But the fact that you're new to my channel, that tells me no. I'm not sure how to answer that question because I don't understand it. Give me more context. But welcome. Welcome to the family. Appreciate you for being here. Let's see. Can we talk offline tonight? Unfortunately, sis, I'm not available tonight. In fact, I am going over my time. I told my travel buddy I was only going to be on for an hour and 15 minutes. And she's waiting for me. We're supposed to be going to dinner. I'm not available tonight, but what I can give you is the link to get on my calendar, right? I want to be able to give you my undivided attention. I am on a road trip right now, and I'm not available tonight, but the link I just put in the chat, use that link to get on my calendar. And I would love to talk with you. I would love to talk with you. But does the high yield work in the same way that you have to wait a year today so you have zero tax? No. A high yield savings account is not an investment. It's just a savings account. And the money earned are not considered capital gains. Interest is what's earned on a high yield savings account. And the interest that you earn is taxed the same way as your ordinary income. Our tax system is created to benefit business owners and investors. A high yield savings account is neither of those two. So, no, the same does not apply to savings. The same does not apply to savings. Okay. Here's the link if anybody wants to get on a call to talk in more detail about their situation. moneycoachmalika.com/schedule. I would love to chat with you. I think that's it. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up now. So the last thing I wanted to talk about was that lever three, the rate of return. And I'm glad I highlighted that last question. If you are only saving in a high yield savings account, you're only earning 5%. Let's stretch and say at best, because rates are a little higher, 5.25%. But if you invest in the stock market, on average, the stock market has been around over 100 years. Historically, on average, the stock market returns, and I'm just going to be modest, the stock market returns between 8 and 10%. But if y'all do a little Google search to see how much the stock market returned last year, you know, some years it's way, way more than that. But on average, investing over the long term, let's say you start investing, you just put all your money into a broad-based index fund and you don't do nothing else. On average, you're going to earn 8 to 10%. So you need to be investing in the stock market in order to pull that third lever of getting that higher rate of return. I'm going to tell you, a high yield savings account is not going to get you to retirement. It's good to have because it provides a cushion when life happens, right? Your emergency fund or your sinking fund or your sabbatical fund, your move abroad fund, right? But a high yield savings account is not going to get you to retirement. It's not going to get you to financial independence. It's not going to get you to that millionaire status because the rate of return is too low. And as soon as inflation comes down and the Federal Reserve starts lowering interest rates, that rate on your high yield savings account is going to come down. But the stock market over 100 years has on average returned 8 to 10%. So pulling that lever 3 means you have to put your money to work to get that higher rate of return. The more you learn beyond just investing in broad-based accounts, some people, you may have heard the term beat the market. What that means is the market returns on average at 8 to 10%. More active investors can beat the market and get a higher return. So not only do investing help you to pull that lever harder to maximize your returns, but investing and continuing to learn, continuing to advance your skills, to advance your financial literacy, that will help you get a higher return too. So if you're starting in your 40s, you still got plenty of years ahead of you. So you still got that lever 1 working for you. So starting now, you still got that lever 1 time working for you by paying off that debt, by reducing your expenses, doing something strange for some change. Like my friend Coach B said, the example I gave was how I downsized my lifestyle so I can have more capital to invest. That's something you can consider doing to pull more of lever two. And then when you have that extra disposable income, putting it into the market is how you will be able to pull more of lever three and continue learning. So, broad based index funds, anybody, anybody can buy that starting right now. Even if you know absolutely nothing about the stock market, you can start investing in broad based index funds right now. But I still encourage you to continue learning. Now, when you're in your 60s or later, you probably like, Malika, I ain't got time for all that. I'm just gonna do broad-based index funds and I'm gonna leave the extra stuff to y'all younger women, the younger sisters. I get it because learning does take time and effort, and especially if you get into more complex things like trading. For the first couple of years, you'll probably lose more money than you'll gain. I'm just being honest. So if you're in your 60s, you're probably like, I ain't got time for that. I get it. But when you are in your 40s, now is the time to start prioritizing yourself. At least get started if you aren't already. If you are, continue learning so you can advance your knowledge and your skills so you can pull more of that rate of return, paying off that debt, let you pull more of increasing the capital. You want to pull all three levers in order to get to that financial independence or the millionaire status, if that is what you desire. It's still possible in your 40s. It's not behind you yet. It's not too late yet. I don't want to hear any of you say it's too late because it's not. But you have to be intentional. Let me back up. You have to get started. And once you get started, you have to be intentional. And I want you to continue learning so you can become more strategic. Right? So, those are the three essentials that you need to achieve financial independence. And those are the ways you can pull at least two or more of those levers to make it possible to achieve financial independence. And if you're still in your 40s, it is absolutely possible. It is absolutely possible. I'm going to go through the comments to see if there are any other questions. Thank you for understanding, Nicole. I see. I see your response. Simone B, we talked about that 3.8% mortgage right now. Do you know how many people would love to have your mortgage rate right now? That's amazing. You have a great rate on your home. Awesome, awesome. Jen, hey. Hey, girl, hey. We missed you, but I'm glad you're here. Thank you for watching the replay. Let's see. Any other questions? Love your channel and advice. Awesome. Good to have you. Alona, am I saying that correctly? Good to have you here. Yes, this is an awesome community we have been building together over here in Fabulous Financials. In Fabulous Financials. Yes, I appreciate y'all so much. Yeah, let's see. You're mentioning that you're going out makes me feel better about thinking, dang, she looks great. Thank you, Chanel. Thank you. Oh, are you opposed to high yield savings accounts for your 3 to 6 month expenses? Savings, or would you put it in all? Absolutely not. Your high yield savings account is for your 3 to 6 month expenses. That rainy day fund or emergency fund, whatever you call it, that is what your high yield savings account is for. So I believe that all of our money should have a job. There is some money that's not meant to be compounded to build wealth. The money that you put in your high yield savings account that serves the purpose of your emergency fund, that's the job of those funds. You want those funds to be readily available if SHIT hit the fan. You want those funds to be readily available if anything happens and you need access to money immediately. That's the job of those funds. The job of those funds is not to prepare you for retirement. It's not to compound and create money babies. Those funds have a very specific job. Although they don't earn as much, their job is just as important. Because if you do not have a rainy day fund or emergency fund or that 3 to 6 months living expenses in your high yield savings account and everything is in the stock market, when SHIT hit the fan and you need to pull money out, if the stock market is down, what you gonna do? Let's say you invested $10,000. Instead of putting it in your high yield savings account as your rainy day fund, you put it in the stock market. And when something happened and you needed that money and that $10,000 is only $7,000, what you gonna do? So the job of those employees, every dollar I earn, I call it an employee of Malika Incorporated. The job of those employees for the 3 to 6 months living expenses is a very, very important job. We're not focusing on compounding money babies to build wealth. We want it to make some money, so that's why we use the high yield savings account. We don't want it in the regular bank account that's only earning point nothing. But yes, that money has a job too, and it's a very important job. So no, I am not opposed to a high yield savings account for an emergency fund. Absolutely not. But anything above that should be invested in the stock market. All right. Simone, I have been thinking about this, an investment challenge. I've been thinking about this. So the fact that you asked, it's going to make me think about it some more. Would you all like me to do an investment challenge? Would you like me to do an investment challenge? Let me get the consensus of the group. I might do a poll on the community page. I might think about creating an investment challenge, maybe like a 3-day investment challenge, just to help you get started, to have some more guidance on actually getting started and doing things in real time. The only thing about it, I'm gonna tell you right now, the only thing about it, if you want to do an investment challenge with me, I take that word challenge very seriously. By the time we're done, you are going to have an account open and funded and an investment in that account by the time you're done with me. I wouldn't do an investment challenge just so you can come to learn or you can come to take notes and figure and ask me questions. I take the word challenge seriously. So I'm going to challenge you to do something that you haven't done yet. And that first step will be complete by the time we're finished. So with that said, would you like for me to host an investment challenge? Let me know. Let me know. But until then, y'all know the investor guide is free. It's in the description, it's in the comments. Use that investor guide to get started. I want you to continue learning, but at least get started. And if you use that investor guide, you should be able to get started this week. Wait, what's today? Friday. No. You should be able to get started no later than next week. It's enough information in that investor guide to get you started. But I will consider doing an investor challenge to give you more handholding and more real-time guidance and accountability to make sure you're getting started. I'm going to think about that some more. Y'all let me know if you will be interested in that. You're welcome, Maya. It's so good to see you again. Tanya, absolutely not. It's not too late in your 50s. Next week is going to be for you, sis. I got a video coming for you next week. Let me see. All of y'all are saying yes. All right. I'm going to do a poll on the community page. And y'all respond to the poll. And let me know if we should do an investor challenge. And I will create the curriculum for it. And if it's something I decide to do, we will have one by the end of summer. Give me by the end of summer. I'll consider that. But all right, ladies, this has been fun. I have went way over my time, but the 40s is the most important decade, so I wanted to take my time with this one. I hope I have dropped something that you picked up and you're willing to take it and run with it. If this video was helpful for you, please hit that like button. And if you are new to my channel, welcome. If you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe. My analytics tell me that only 50% of my viewers are actually subscribed. So please subscribe to the channel because that helps me. And when people see that my channel is growing, they think, this must be good. Let me check her out. And then more people will be attracted and join this beautiful community that we're building together. And also share the video. Share the video with other women you know who are in their 40s who desire to achieve financial independence and retire early, or at least retire comfortably. That is who this video is for. If you are in your 50s and beyond, next week's video will be for you. I look forward to doing that video and chatting with you all. And at the end of this video, once the live is posted, I'm going to include some videos in the end screen. So if you enjoy watching more videos about investing, I have a whole playlist about investing. If you want to watch those videos, I'm going to put it in the end screen. That will be over here somewhere. So make sure you check those out too. And until next time, I love you all. I'll see you later. Bye for now.